Papias, Clement. Clement's named in the Bible, isn't he? His name does appear in the Bible. Now, church, these people sat at the feet of the apostles. But remember that they too are going to pass away rather quickly as we move into the 2nd century. By the time we get into the first quarter or 1/2 of the 2nd century, then we're going to lose all of the apostolic church fathers. They're going to go on to their reward. And who replaces them? A whole new train of churchmen come on the scene. But now the church has moved from the locus of Jerusalem and Antioch. Remember, Jerusalem is going to be destroyed down to the ground in what year? 70 AD. So Jerusalem is going to be destroyed. The temple that had been rebuilt at the end of the 70-year Babylonian captivity, then remodeled, renovated by Herod the Great, that temple is going to be razed and destroyed, and there's going to be a bloodletting of gigantic proportions, and all the Judeans, or most every one of them except a little remnant, is going to be scattered all over the Roman world. They're fleeing for their life after 70 AD, so Jerusalem loses its impetus. Now, up to that point, who is the leading figure in Jerusalem in the church? It's not one of the apostles. Who is it? He's got a book named in his honor in the Bible. James. And he's not an apostle. But he is, now I've got to say this for James. James is considered to be the stalwart carryover of the battle to save God's laws. He's a remarkable person. Some people believe that when you read the book of James, you're reading a stoic, very dry, hard-nosed Judean person that's really steeped in the law. But James has practical wisdom, and I promise you this, church, Amen. If you take the 5 chapters of James and let them be the model for your life, you will soar like an eagle. Amen. Because he has a wonderful message in every one of his 5 chapters. But he too is going to pass on. I believe he's going to be martyred, just like everyone else is. So by the time we get to the middle of the 2nd century church, we have lost a lot of the savor, the seasoning, and the flavor of the early apostolic church. Because now the church is battling. It's moved from its Hebrew, Aramaic roots, and now it's moving into the Greek phase, and it's going to also be joined by the Latin phase. So we're going to have a blending of Greek and Latin thought coming into the church. Some of it's going to be good, and some of it's not going to be good. And the part that is not going to be good is that eventually we're going to have Christianity reach a point where it will not become the persecuted, but it will be accepted as the religion of the Roman Empire. Now, can you imagine that? If you can consider that the first 3 centuries were a bloodbath. Literally tens of thousands, yea, hundreds of thousands of Christians perished in the first 300 years of Christianity. Literally hundreds of thousands, probably upwards of millions, several million. So that was a horrendous, a very, very difficult time. What we have then, church, we have by 312, we have the famous Battle of Milvian Bridge. Now, some of the boys and girls have studied history, Roman history, and you know that Constantine is going to face a very strong counterpart of a person in the Roman battle for control of Rome, and Constantine is going to win this battle. It's called the Battle of Milvian Bridge. It happens in 312 AD. Now, what happens after Constantine's victory? Now, I'm going to close by saying this. Constantine wins the Battle of Milvian Bridge in 312 AD. He issues the Edict of Milan in the next year, 313. He orders that the persecution of the Christians cease and desist. Now, you would think that if the Christians are no longer going to be persecuted, it's a wonderful day, wouldn't you? You think that's marvelous. The bloodbath stops. Christians can come out of the catacombs. They can come out of the caves and dens. And that's wonderful. But you know what's going to happen? There's going to be compromises made, because Constantine, who now believes himself to be a Christian, because he had a vision that he's going to win under the sign of the cross. He has all of his soldiers with a sign of a cross, and they go out there for battle believing that God has ordained for them to win, and they fight like winners and win and defeat the powerful contender, his own brother-in-law. I mean, this was a royal battle. 313, Constantine issues the Edict of Milan, which removes persecution from the Christians. It makes Christianity, it gives it legal standing with all the other religions. It now means that Christianity is kind of like the Muslims in America. They have equal standing with you people. And the Hindus that have equal standing with all of us now. Everybody has equal standing. So Christianity was just one of many that had equal standing in the Roman Empire. But in 321, by 321, Constantine has made a choice that he's going to be a Christian. Now, Constantine was one interesting guy. You didn't want to be his enemy, because you might not live. But he wasn't all bad. In 321 AD, I'm going to end with this, I promise. Constantine the Great did something that changed the course of Christianity.
Amen.
And this is why tomorrow morning, the followers of Constantine will gather in the churches all up and down America. You know what I'm getting ready to say, don't you? Because in 321 AD, Constantine issued his edict and proclaimed Sunday as the new Sabbath. Now listen, that's 321, church. That's over 300 years that the seventh day of the week was the established Sabbath of the Christian world.
Right.
Howbeit, there were plenty of people that were beginning to worship on Sunday in honor of the resurrection and so forth. Now, I'm going to read the statement that Constantine issued. Here is the edict of Constantine, and this is what he said. I'm going to read it verbatim, and it'll be right out of the record of the archives of Constantine's history. On the venerable day of the sun, Sunday, let the magistrates and people residing in cities rest. Let all workshops be closed. In the country, however, persons engaged in agriculture may freely and lawfully continue their pursuits, because it often happens that another day is not so suitable for grain sowing or for vine planting, lest by neglecting the proper moment for such operations, the bounty of heaven should be lost. So what Constantine did right there, he didn't say it was against the law to keep the Sabbath. He just simply said, the new Sabbath is in honor of the venerable day of the sun, because the worship of the sun was a central belief in Mithraism, the religion that many of the Romans believed in. Mithraism. In Mithraism, the worship of the sun as a body was celebrated, and so the day called Sunday was in honor and veneration of that day. Now, final clause, the Council of Laodicea follows a few years later, 364 AD. I said 321 AD, the Sabbath became Sunday became the new Sabbath, but it wasn't against the law to keep the original Sabbath. But in 364 at the Council of Laodicea, listen to this canon. This is going out to every Christian in the Roman world, including all the Greek-speaking portion of that Roman world. Quote, Christians shall not Judaize and be idle on the Saturday or the Sabbath, but shall work on that day. But the Lord's day, the new day, will be Sunday. They shall especially honor, and as being Christians shall, if possible, do no work on that day. If, however, they are found Judaizing, now listen, if they are found keeping the Sabbath, they shall be shut out from Christ, excommunicated. That's 364 AD. So it took over 350 years before keeping the Sabbath was actually made. There was a law that actually forbade it. Now, in between 321 and 364 is the Council of Nicaea, and that's where the Easter, Passover day came. So that ends our discussion, church. Shall we be standing?